If I wanted to brainwash a nation, I wouldn't chain their hands. I'd program their minds until obedience felt like freedom. I'd hand them a false stage, left against right, red against blue. Neighbors turned into enemies, families split down dinner tables, all while both wings flap for the same bird. What made you write that?
I asked myself the question, if there was a hand involved in this, a greater play, how would I brainwash them? How would I take culture and strip them from the present moment?
How can women hold men accountable without shaming them?
My partner has been the biggest guide for me into my heart. My heart is my compass. My heart is my truth. My heart is my North Star. My heart is the pillars of the foundation that makes Wayne Barkus. My heart is my connection to God. And so many men are incredibly disconnected from that space. So why men are often so challenged in relationship with women is because
I wish, these are the conversations that we need to have.
Mm-hmm. I have a little picture. I have so many incredible women in my life. And when I first started this journey, I did it for them. I wanted to show up to be a better man. I wanted to show up to be a better father. I wanted my daughters to feel safe with me. And I wanted my mom to be proud of the man that I was becoming, because I wasn't. I wasn't a man that a mother would be proud of. And, my mom's really sick right now, so prayers up for her. And that's what gripped me is I have a picture.
My mom is wise beyond her years, and I go to her for lots of advice.
Yeah.
I can still see that little girl too.
Beautiful.
And to be able to see that and hold her when she needs it, because she's a caretaker of my brother for life.
Yeah.
And sometimes she needs someone just to hold what she's feeling in that moment. And I like that I can do that for her now.
This is the Sacred Thomas Podcast.
I still go back to, I've got this picture. I should have brought it with too, but I got this picture. My mom dressed me up as Don Johnson in Miami Vice.
Oh yeah?
That was my jam, man. It was all white. I had the flower green neon shirt.
Yeah.
I was probably 9 or 10 years old, but I thought I was hot shit. And I was a total nerd, man, super nerd. But I still thought when I put on that Miami Vice outfit that I was stunned,
Yeah, yeah.
And so to fast forward and kind of feel into the evolution and to be across from you,
right?
It's kind of okay, cool. We're the modern day, Miami Vice.
Right. It was meant to happen.
It was meant to happen.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
Except for I'm wearing all white today.
No, it's stunned. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. All right. So sitting down with Wayne Barkus, part 2. The world ain't ready. The world ain't ready. Man, I want to start this off really hot.
Let's go.
And I'm going to start off really hot in your words. Because when I was looking at your recent content, a lot of stuff stood out. And this is something you said.
Okay.
If I wanted to brainwash a nation, I wouldn't chain their hands. I'd program their minds until obedience felt like freedom. I'd hand them a false stage, left against right, red against blue. Neighbors turned into enemies, families split down dinner tables, all while both wings flap for the same bird. That stopped me in my tracks. I want to dive into that.
Yeah, let's go.
What made you write that?
I get to travel often. And as I travel, I'm pretty aware of my surroundings, and I just kind of tune into what I've noticed has changed over, let me just say, since COVID. And I feel into that time after COVID when the world kind of opened back up. And what a special feeling it felt to kind of come back to community and have this excitement again, this, man, I really missed you. Like, how are you doing? That was really challenging. And, fast forward, here we are, tail end of 2025. I recognize a kind of pattern that's happening again, where I see this tremendous disconnect as I look around from the gym to the airport to just walking in the grocery store. I really feel into what it feels for me when I see everybody, I'll loosely use the word hijacked by their phone. And so it's like I'm walking around in this experience here, navigating this world. And is anybody actually home? I'm kind of looking for eyes, just looking for a little connection. After COVID, as I would look into people's eyes, I could feel the intensity, the kind of the polarization that was happening in people's body from the fear that a lot of people absorbed and felt and experienced. And now what I'm sensing isn't so much fear as much as a disconnect. And so I asked myself the question, if there was a hand involved in this, a greater play, how would I brainwash them? How would I take culture and strip them from the present moment? And how would I pin or side people against each other, so much so that they were so busy in the back and forth entertainment of who's right, who's wrong, that I'm making plays 10 years down the road. And so when I started to sit with the fact that maybe there's just this greater system at play that's putting people left versus right, blue versus red, Christian, non-Christian, vaxxed, non-vaxxed, all I felt into is the separation. And all I feel called back into is what I think humanity's truly asking for is connection. And that's the piece that I speak to in what I'm bringing through in the world, is that piece of connection. And how do we get back to the roots of connection?
Right. It sounds like we have something 10 times bigger than Mount Everest to climb. Because you're right. I like what you said on your socials, what you just told me right now. Like we're pitted against each other. A great example of that is, and I don't want to make this like a super political conversation, but it's hard to avoid it.
Of course.
So with the whole shutdown and everything, it seems like theater because in one end, Democrats are holding out because they want to make sure that we get our healthcare subsidies, so that healthcare doesn't triple.
Sure.
But then they give in. And then Republicans are saying it's the Democrats' fault and vice versa. And every conversation I'm having with people about politics it's so tribal these days, a lot more than, during like 9/11, I was young. I was trying to pay attention, but not really.
Right.
But as I look back and I actually pay attention to politics. At least back then, there was an illusion of us actually coming together. Now the illusion's fallen. The veil's been unveiled.
Yeah.
So, which I think it's good that the illusion is disappearing, but it seems a little chaotic.
by design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said that the goal is to get back to connection.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that?
Well, I think it's simple. And yet within the framework of how the world moves, or at least Western culture, I can see how it's so challenging. I mean, I think in that specific post, or one of them, let's connect to the ground, put our feet back in the earth. Before our last podcast, we went outside, you and I, grounding. It's like so many people live in these corporate environments or city environments, and it's just a unnatural rhythm. Right. So when I speak to connection, I speak to rhythm. There's a rhythm within the earth. There's a pulse that people have forgot to follow. And that's where the hijacking comes in. When I say hijacking, I mean like cortisol and dopamine going off because there's a screen in somebody's hand that people are reacting to. And so how do we get away from it? Well, an incredible way is to fast from electronics, to fast from social media, to fast from chaos, and come back to a rhythm, a neutrality, that when one enters into it, it becomes home. And then, because I find myself when I go back into those spaces of social media or curiosity, what's happening in the world, I'm like, whoo, let me go back into nature. Let me go for a hike. I'm not ready for this quite yet. I've got to balance my nervous system so I can absorb all of that information. So a lot of people have taken in enough information for a lifetime. I think if social media just got pulled and everybody got back to community and cooking and hanging, I think there would be a level of connection where we could actually integrate all the information that we've absorbed. And that's the piece that I feel is really missing. Right.
And it would be great. I mean, it sounds great, but the powers that be are strong, right? And
sure.
as much as I want this conversation to reach far and people to actually digest and understand it, it's at most a couple million people.
Sure.
In a country with 300 and something million, in a world with 7-8 billion.
Yeah.
And then the powers that are really, really controlling the masses. So it's like, I think those are great solutions. It's like, how do we, on a larger scale, actually fix it? Now, I will say, I think that with the evolution of AI, and I've talked to Alexi and Preston about this, I think that there's probably going to turn and be a longing of connection, of something real. Because now we're going to be able to produce something that you might have taken you weeks or months to produce. Like AI is going to be pumping out content and the best music you've ever heard, just like that. But we'll know it's not real. So I think that's when we'll probably try to at least default back to, all right, what's connection, what's human, what's real?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's necessary and it's beautiful. I mean, I can see the beauty in the swing of the pendulum that way and the information that's coming through, because I think we need contrast as humans. I think oftentimes we calibrate way too far towards disconnection. And AI is kind of like the ability to go into infinite disconnection, because people can get really lost in it, and also use it for therapy or whatever the case is. But if I'm just going to zoom out, Sacred, with all of these things, with all social medias or with AI, I pay attention to the filter as to who's the choreographer of it. And I don't put truth into what it's coming through, because it's coming through the lens or the filter of a maker that could have an agenda. Okay. So I hold what comes through that really loosely. And I think people are going to really want to come back to wisdom keepers, to those that are able to bring them to rites of passage through the wilderness, to fast through men's groups where they take them for several days and they take them through this rites of passion or a meditation retreat. All of those things, I believe, are going to be like in 5 to 6 years, the most desired spaces and places to go because so many people are going to get lost into this AI world and forget themselves and forget their purpose or their creativity because they're just going to outsource it.
So essentially, in a way, just the world has a way of correcting itself, and we're also playing a decent role in
100%. Yeah. So I applaud it. I look at the genius, the ingenuity in it. It's pretty wild, man. Like last time we did the podcast, I don't think there was AI.
No, there wasn't.
There was no AI.
I mean, there was, but we weren't. I wasn't paying attention. It was like a niche thing to really be paying attention.
Sure. And for myself, I had quite a bit of like pushback in it, like rejection to it. And I think that was just because I had really cultivated a beautiful relationship with my intuition after so many years of being disconnected that I just wanted to stay in that lane for myself. Like I didn't need any more outside suggestions or structures so I really just kind of pushed it away. And I was like, I want to just get to know myself a little bit deeper and trust myself a little more. Because I think what I'm sensing and what I'm noticing is that a lot of people are putting an incredible amount of trust into AI and they're kind of skewing the information as to how they want it to run in their lives, especially in relationships. I know of men who put questions and prompts in and AI is giving it back. And it's just like, okay, but what filter is that coming through? And then are you really being confronted by it or are you being coddled? So,
and it's men and women.
For sure.
It's men and women.
For sure. And I get it. And there's also something to people being with other people to actually feel into the sensations. You know, when you and I do this, if we hit that moment where you're like, ooh, that touched my soul. Yeah. I've never experienced that with AI. And I don't necessarily know that it exists to the magnitude of what human connection will ever give.
Yeah. Who knows? The time will tell, right?
Time will tell.
But I will say one of the ways, because I'm not completely turned off by AI. I do see its use.
Yeah.
And I haven't necessarily used it for relationships.
Okay.
But I think one of a very good way to use it is to actually have conversations with it and actually tell it to challenge you. Because there's say you're using it for a relationship.
Sure.
You can input something and it's already just going to have a bias towards you being right. It wants you to be right.
Of course. Yeah.
So if you're able to actually challenge the AI's thought process, you can have more of a roundabout answer. And also, you can train it in a way that it understands, and again, maybe not to the level of a human, but it can understand the way that you see the world. But it takes time and effort and literally talking to it almost like it's a human. So it could actually understand the way that you view the world, and it can give you, like say you're doing copy for like a website.
Sure.
You can train it to learn your voice.
Sure.
If you have enough data out there.
Yeah.
And it won't be perfect. And you can read it and be like, hey, that sounds like me there, but over there, I don't know if that's me. But you also have to just have the level of awareness.
Sure.
You know?
Yes.
But rather than just blindly trusting this as God, and God knows what's right over what I think.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I totally do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the AI conversation is interesting for sure.
It is. And I'm sure in a year when I come back, it's going to be even deeper and wider, and we'll likely get to see either the good fruit or the rotten fruit that comes from it.
Yeah. This was a funny moment that just when you said rotten fruit, there's a class that got in trouble for using AI, all the students in the class. So they had to write an apology letter. every single one of them used AI to write the apology letter, and it all spit out the exact same thing. So they got in trouble again. So I'm more afraid for the youth.
Yeah. It's interesting. You know, I have daughters, and I get to hear how they use it.
Yeah.
And how quickly it's adopted into their, I'm talking 11 and 14. And how, you know, there's this, well, I can just ask AI, or I can just upload it into AI. That's why for me, I pause when I hear that, and then I want to zoom out, and I want to understand the filter of which it's coming through, the programming. Because if I were to brainwash a nation, I would use AI to have a particular agenda that I can bring. It's insidious, and it would start incredibly small, and I would build trust with people. And I would reflect back to them that which you want to hear. Anytime I've ever used AI, it continues to applaud me and tell me how sovereign I am. And I'm like, I don't need you to tell me anything about me. I am sovereign. I know who I am. Stop coddling me. But I can see how for those who may be outsourcing a little bit of validation, or having a I'm pretty cool moment, that the relationship becomes a little addictive.
Yeah.
And so I pay attention to that part of the game, because I understand that the shackles that somebody walks through life with, they often don't even know that they signed up to it just bit by bit by bit by bit by bit, until one day all the freedoms are gone and it's running society. So
yeah. And like you said, if you were to brainwash a nation.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. Got to pay attention to the AI.
We're watching. I mean, we're early on this conversation, and I'm glad you brought it up, but it is something that I want to, you know, kind of just raise the awareness to, of like, we have our children, and our children are they going to lose their train of thought? Are they going to get actual facts? Because I'll put this out there. I'm pretty sure that what our kids are being taught isn't capital T truth. I'm sure that what we were taught was not capital T truth. I'm sure that there was an agenda to brainwash a nation through schooling.
Yeah.
And so if there were going to be an agenda to brainwash the next generation of youth, it would be relatively easy if we dismantled education and replaced it with AI, which then has this filter that we could just program to then teach them. So it's incredibly important things to pay attention to.
Right.
Because while I can use it to build a business with absolute brilliance, and I don't need to outsource it to all these other computer programmers and people that I'd have to pay, now I can just use AI to literally help create that business.
Yeah.
On the other hand, these are things that we get to pay incredibly close attention to.
Yeah, and it's definitely a double-edged sword.
For sure.
And you said that you're worried about the youth. You also said you don't wake others by telling or shaking them awake. You wake them by living so free they feel the weight of their own chains. So brings us into what you're talking about. How important is it to lead by example? And what do you know of, like, any examples, any signs for someone who is chained to look out for, to know that this might be someone that's good to listen to or follow?
It's a great question. The first word that comes to me is mentorship. In the process of personal development, or any sort of development for men, I think we start inherently by looking at our fathers as mentors, right? And if we're going to zoom out just a little bit, the majority of what we watched, what we learned, what they said becomes little programs that are instilled in us. And depending upon how many other men that we had in our life, we may pick up a handful of other programs or a handful of other sayings in my particular case, and I'm curious about yours as well, as we were kind of talking about, your father coming into here, and you're welcome to share anything you want. I had not too many men as role models in my life. I had my dad.
Yeah.
And so I had what he taught me. I had what he showed me. And it was just downloaded in me. This is exactly what it's like to be a man. This is how I handle obstacles. This is how I handle resistance with partnership. This is how I speak about women when women aren't around. All of these little subtle, insidious things became how I believe it was to be a man.
Right.
And so the interesting thing that got to happen for me is when I went through my deep initiation, I got to really dismantle the pieces and parts that were running the show blindly, where I'm like, let me open up the hood and actually take a look at the engine. Because if we look around and I look at people who aren't actually looking, or they're walking and they're just not here, they're in a virtual space, they're not grounded and connected, I'm curious as to what their programming software is, and have they looked underneath the hood. And so in this journey, and the journey's never ending, I look to mentorships. I look to those that are showing up, and I call it the golden charge. And, coincidentally, as you've had Preston on, a handful of times, he was one of the first people that I had a golden charge with. And a golden charge, I say, is something that's in him that I don't yet see in myself that I admire.
Yeah.
And I started seeing all of these golden charges in different men as I was looking in mentorship. And I would continue to tell them, this aspect of you, your fashion, your expression, it's lit. And they would continue to reflect back to me, if you spot it, you got it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I just haven't activated it yet. It's there, but it's dormant. It's within me. So I picked 3 men as mentors, and I started to amplify that part of the expression that really kind of drew me to them. And then after I started to become that hybrid version, I got to learn more about my own expression, because I was kind of like adopting theirs a little bit, even words or language or quotes. It's real easy to do because it's like, that's the information I'm taking in.
Yeah.
And then as I stepped away and I was like, let me integrate all of this and kind of go on the journey of my own self-expression and what that looks like. I feel like that's the point in the journey where we're no longer running on autopilot. We're aware of how we're operating, and we have this new operating system with new codes that we get to. This is the kind of man that I'm going to be. This is the kind of space that I'm going to hold. This is how I want somebody to feel when they talk with me. Yeah.
It reminds me of a quote. Get your questions answered, and then question your answers. How to adopt your own mindset on things.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I like the way Preston does this. I like the way Wayne does this. I like the way Tony Robbins speaks about this. I like his viewpoint on that. All right, now question that. Go a level deeper. How do you feel? How does it resonate with you? How does this help your life? So I think it's critical thinking.
Yeah.
Learning critical thinking, I think, is going to really help.
Absolutely.
Us move forward and understand the right people to look up to. And you were asking my viewpoint on the subject. Like, my mom and dad divorced when I was 7. So I look up to my dad in a lot of ways, but, we moved to Texas when I was 13. And I didn't necessarily see him growing up all the time. I saw him when I could, but in a lot of ways, I was raised by my mom. She was the one trying to figure out, all right, let me put him into football, get some masculine figures there. And then I end up loving basketball, start playing, having coaches, listening to what they have to say. But then I found people like Tony Robbins, Les Brown, David Goggins, people that I'm like, oh, I like what they have to say. I like how they make me feel. But even, I remember when we were talking about, we were having our last conversation, I think I brought up David Goggins.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were like, I would like to, I don't know if this verbatim, but you're basically like, I would like to actually talk to him and see, you saw the little boy in him. That's what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point I didn't.
Okay.
And now I'm like, you know what? This man has been able to accomplish so much living in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a completely different perspective than I had on him before.
Yeah.
He's been able to do so many great things, but you can tell that man's living in survival mode. And he may probably die in survival mode.
Sure.
Or it's just a way that works for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be great to sit down with him, but there's something there.
Yeah.
To continuously beat yourself up like that.
For sure.
There's something there that I think he could probably use the bridge. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I think these are incredible benchmarks as to what works for us and what doesn't, especially as we men kind of move through the world at this age where we're starting to ask questions of what does it look like to be a man? What does it look like to be a healthy man? What does it look like to be a healthy man in a successful relationship? What does it look like to be an incredible man in business? As we start to kind of redefine and refine what that means to us. Look, I read David Goggins' book and I was so inspired by the level that he was able to push himself. And what that reflected back to me, Sacred, was where I wasn't pushing myself at all. I wasn't challenging myself. I wasn't allowing myself to fail. And I certainly wasn't failing and getting back on the horse. And so I take that kind of archetype of the, I guess I would call it a shadow aspect of the warrior, where they go so far that they've lost touch with their nurturing, that they're able to just break themselves over and over and over and over again. I'm not particularly inspired by that quality of living because I actually did that. And so I can take the gold of the archetype and say, okay, let me input that into my value system, but no longer will I show up and break myself and call myself a hero anymore. I don't need to do that again. I've done it. It didn't work. I've learned.
Right.
Lesson is the lesson. Right.
Because being especially when you have a partner, being in warrior mode all the time isn't gonna cut it.
Yes. I mean,
sometimes you need the warrior, but sometimes they just need someone that can hold them, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You can't be like, suck that shit up. Suck it up.
I mean, that's jolting. Just even as you say it, like I receive that as like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know,
to your partner.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
No. Like, babe, what's wrong?
If I said that to my partner, she'd go running out the door. She's like, what's the matter with you?
Like,
you lost your mind.
You know, I'm going to give you a moment. I'll be back in an hour.
Exactly. Yes.
Which brings me to my next question.
Okay.
What do you think happens to a man's spirit when he's constantly being told to man up?
Who is he being told to man up by?
His coaches, his mom, his dad, his peers.
Yeah.
Whenever any type of emotions come out, suck it up. What do you think that does to a man's spirit?
Well, I know in my experience what it did to my spirit, because I played collegiate basketball and I had coaches, telling me to just override my system, and they would say some really, really, really horrible, like things that shouldn't be said to a late teen. Yeah. And what that did to my spirit was I just turned into a sulken mess. I just, I think if we replace like the man up with you're not worthy, it creates this perpetual hamster wheel of never being worthy enough for the acceptance of whomever it is. And, for me, it was in sports. For me, it was in my upbringing. And then it was in my partnership. There was nothing that I could ever do that could actually meet the expectations of the other person. So I think a lot of men get trained as to what expectations to meet. And in that, they're 100% overriding their actual needs. And then in the overriding of the needs, they create these covert contracts of being completely resentful. And then what ends up happening ultimately is a man begins suffocating on his truth. And that turns into depression, that turns into disease, that turns into antidepressants. The list goes on. But from a spiritual level, I think that all goes into the pit of his stomach.
Right.
And it sits there. I call it dross. It's like this heavy lead that has the words, "I'm not worthy," just constantly reciting. And that becomes the operating system of how he shows up to everything, so that he compensates and overcompensates and eventually completely burns out and turns it outwards against the entire world.
Right. Yeah. And but it's like, how do you reach that balance of still raising and creating strong men that aren't just going to crumble under anything?
Sure.
But also who aren't scared to let out their emotions. How do we reach that balance? Like, what is it actually? Because that in society, that's the thing you do. You tell them, man the fuck up. So what's it actually look like if we have 300 million people doing something different? So I guess for me thinking, there's a time for man up, but there's also a time for I got you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it comes back to what you might say is strength.
Yeah.
In a man. If strength in a man is him having the courage to show up in a magnitude to override fear, that's a different kind of strength. Okay.
Yeah.
If strength is being defined as suppress all that you're feeling and churn through, for me, that's not strength.
Yeah.
That's avoidance. And so I like to think of strength as the ability for one to know themselves and go into it to close the loop of whatever the emotion is, ask for what you need, and then show up to move through fear. So it's not just like this one moment thing where it's like man up. It's more like, I need this right now. And this is true to me, having the courage to ask for it and then getting to the expression of it so that you can walk through life without holding whatever that piece is. And typically it could be, I'm afraid. Like, voice the fear. Okay, cool, you're afraid. Let's talk through that. Versus, I talk a lot on social media, like mythopoetic wisdom for men. And mythopoetic wisdom was written in the 70s and the 80s by some just brilliant men. And what I like to bring through in social media is like 20-year-old men, by the time they're 30 or 40, they're not going to be listening to the books that I might be listening to now. They're so outdated and dry. Like, these authors had major codes, but it's boring. And so I've gotten to kind of slug my way through a lot of these like the nuggets in there that have changed my life, right? And there's a piece, particularly in the book called Iron John.
You put me onto that.
Okay, by Robert Bly, where he talks about when a boy doesn't have the ability to actually ask for what he needs or to have his needs met, his warrior completely shuts down. So I think when we say man up, what we're really asking for of men is, let me see your fucking warrior. Let me see you come alive or online. Like, what do you got? What's in there? Now, the way to access it can either be detrimental or it can be inspirational. Okay. In my particular experience as a kid, it was detrimental. And so what Bly speaks to is that if a boy's warrior collapses, he puts his sword down And his kingdom, which is his emotional home, now has a doorknob on the outside that anybody can access because there's nobody guarding the kingdom. So if there's nobody guarding the kingdom and anybody can get in there, what would you think enters into his world? Anything.
Yeah, you're shape-shifting at that point.
100%. And when you're shape-shifting, who are you? You're whatever you need to be to fit into the environment. But nobody actually knows you without the mask, right? So, you know, it was one of the more impactful pieces that like was able to bring me back into my childhood and understand, and then actually point to when people say man up, I think what we're just asking for is, let me see the wild man.
Yeah.
Let me see the warrior like come alive. But it can be done in such a beautiful way that's like inspiring somebody versus, you know, shaming them.
Right. And the context matters.
Context matters.
Yeah. How can men redefine success in a world that is measured by output?
How can men redefine success in a world that's measured by output?
Yeah. I think a lot of men feel that we are only as good as what we can produce. And that's what the world tells us.
Sure. The first thing that comes to me is the word purpose. And that I think a lot of men get caught in this pursuit with no mountaintop in view. And actually, I think, you know, myself, I got to the mountaintop in success, but I didn't know that I was there because I wasn't actually aware of the journey or where I was going. I just knew that this is how I was going to operate, which was relentless, overworking, making all of the contacts with all of the people, overriding my intuition and a lot of the relationships business-wise, just to get to the pinnacle of success. So that's it. In my language, I'm going to say the whole thing's a performance. And so I like to ask the question, who are we doing this for? Are we doing it to satisfy mom? Because mom wants to go to church and tell everybody how great your podcast is. And wow, look at what my boy did. Are we literally showing up into the world to please dad? And I say this because I was, and I would note how my parents spoke about me to others. And I would also feel into the words that they were using in the expectation that they had of me. So it's one thing if it's self-sourced. I believe that to be the walk of purpose. And purpose is when I'm so deeply in alignment and trust and surrender that I get to walk this path of being where I get to be unequivocally true to myself, my essence, unfuckable with, and God's got me. Like I just get to go through life and I'm held and I'm supported and all the right opportunities are going to align with me versus I'm doing this because I want to be loved by my mom or my dad or my partner or my friends, my tribe. But at the core of it, I'm not feeling like this is who I am. This is just how I've learned to adapt to make everybody around me like me.
Goes back to critical thinking.
Sure.
We got to use our brains.
Yeah. I think we have to pay attention to the operating systems of why are we doing this? Yeah. I did it and I never actually paused and said, what am I even doing this for? I don't need more. I don't want more. I've got plenty of things. It just has become who I am. I am just the person that shows up like this and doesn't actually do self-reflection. So with critical thinking, I'd probably myself use the language of reflection. So many people are moving, but not often spending time to actually reflect, to pay attention to the people that are coming to our field, their values. What am I attracting into my life? And let me actually like reflect on, is this true to me? Is this true to the direction that I want to go? So yeah, like critical thinking and reflection, incredible space of self-knowing.
Yeah. What am I attracting into my life? It makes me actually think of, so this is what I was going to start the podcast saying, but now we're 40 minutes in.
What is time?
But who's counting? So I actually made a post yesterday, last night. And it was with the podcast I did with Ryan Moresby White. And I think I told you this last time we sat down. I want more people to disagree with me.
Oh, yeah.
And finally they did.
Yes.
So what did the post say? I asked Ryan the question, why do you think it's like a pastime? Why do you think it's so accepted to shit on men these days? Do you agree with that question? Do you think it's in the broad society, especially with just Western culture, do you think it's broadly accepted to like shit on men or make men like the brunt of the, not the joke, because it's not always jokes, but
to be the scapegoat?
Yeah, just kind of like one thing that women say is like, I don't need a man. Men ain't shit. Like you could publicly say that, you're fine.
Sure.
It doesn't really work vice versa. So I asked the question, why do you think it's okay? Why is it accepted to do that? And I'm hearing it in the comments.
Tell me more.
Actually, let me read some.
Please.
Let me read some.
I want to hear about this because you're tuned into something that I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, I can speak to the degradation of men through let's call it, our government or what we see in TV. It's insidious. And
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, cool.
The government, what we're seeing on TV.
Sure.
And women, as long as we can remember, we're second-class citizens.
Okay.
So I understand that.
Yep.
And now more than ever, women are starting to make as much as men. And
sure.
Yeah, and I guess in so many ways, like, oh, well, you can pay for your own bills. You don't need men.
Sure. Right? Yeah.
In that sense.
Times change.
But you want a man. You do. And we want you too.
Sure. Right.
Actually, I'll just play the clip for you so you can get the full context.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It's like a pastime to shit on men. It's praised. Why do you think that is?
I feel that like there's generational guilt from the masculine. I feel like there's this generational guilt that men carry and hold for the hurt that we have caused the feminine and we have created generationally for women. And I feel that a lot of men are carrying that weight, that guilt towards how we have treated the feminine, how we have treated women. And
sounds like there's been an overcorrection. Because we're hurting each other at this point, right?
Yeah. And it's coming back to how can we build a healthy relationship with the masculine and feminine and honor the men and the women and come back into community instead of taking sides.
So I essentially left it with a question. There's more in the podcast, but I essentially left it with a question because I wanted people to think.
Yeah.
Because he's asking, how can we come together?
Yeah.
And I'll just say most of the comments are like exactly what I was pointing out, shitting on men. I'll read one. It says, a man telling another man it's an overcorrection. And there's a lot of people upset about the overcorrection statement. When when in reality it's just a reaction to the patriarchy and a generational trauma that men have single-handedly caused and continue to perpetuate in mass. As a woman, I will never apologize for holding men accountable for bad behavior. And if that makes dudes uncomfy, then maybe they should take a look in the mirror and take some responsibility. That's the tone of most comments. And I can feel where it's coming from. I can feel it. And you know, she has her right to say that.
Yeah. There's something in there that I caught that I think is probably single-handedly the most important thing that's being asked of men.
What's that? And
I think if we're going to do like a top-down approach, it's exactly what we're not seeing. You know, I'm just going to pull out the word patriarchy and I'm just going to say, look at our government. If the men in the government are considered men that are leaders of the country, right? They're not my leaders. I'm just going to say that right here. Like, I lead myself solely. I can make all the decisions for me. I'm putting the food, the water, I'm taking care of myself. I know how to show up for myself. I don't need a man in government to make these decisions for me. Okay. The quality of the men making the decisions, there's something that is inherently deeply missing, and it's integrity. And if we're going to take it even farther, it's a lack of accountability, a lack of responsibility. There is no ownership within society for men. So I grew up seeing that. My father wasn't one to really watch TV and he wasn't into politics. But the little bit that I could see the overarching spectrum of men were able to gaslight their way out of anything. And now if we're just going to fast forward and we're just going to call it ghosting culture, well, ghosting is just a simple byproduct of the inability to take responsibility. So why are men ghosting women after a date? Well, it's just easier to do than actually face the conversation or the feeling or the abandonment or the rejection or whatever might happen in the mirror that is the person that they're having this feeling. So I think what the shitting on is truly not shitting on. It's a prayer. It's a deep cry for men to come back into integrity, for men to take ownership and responsibility for their piece of the fence so that we can come back, because what I'm catching is a polarization. And I know it, I sense it. You can feel it in my comments too when I speak to the desire that women are having is to know that a man that's in integrity, that knows himself, that's compassionate, that's connected to his heart, that has the courage to be rejected in the face of the world for having conversations that might be against the grain, they're starting to not believe it exists. Because in the space of social media, there's so much curation and performance that it's like, oh, I can see what's happening. It's like people are able to present something, but how do we know if it's true? So I'm skeptical. There's so much skepticism. There's so much polarization. There's so much pain, man. There's so much hurt that men have done and vice versa.
Yeah.
The only way that we get to come back to it is taking ownership of how we showed up in our lives and healing that aspect and forgiving ourselves so that we can hold space for the conversations without the charge.
Right.
Okay.
I agree with everything you just said. And there's responsibility to be taken on both sides.
100%.
So you said the conversation without the charge?
Yeah.
That was charge. What I just read you was charge. So
totally. So yeah, social media is a great place for charges.
Yeah.
In the comments.
So it and it's I'll read that. I'm like, you know what? All right, let me take a step back.
Sure.
But if the average person's having that conversation, especially on social media, we're just yelling at each other. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The polarization, the fighting between men and women. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. It's your fault. listen, in the name of all men,
Mhm.
I am sorry.
Yeah.
We have fucked up
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the way we've treated women over time.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to solve it on its own, though.
Right.
So,
but it's a start.
it is a start, and there's when I say there's accountability on women's side, it's okay. You keep choosing these same type of men. At what point can you say, "Heck, why am I attracting this into my life?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I falling for this?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at some point you know what a man that's actually living his truth looks like or feels like or is.
Yeah.
Right? There's men that are good at hiding it, I guess, but
this is an incredibly nuanced space, and to be incredibly like real with this conversation in the nuance of it, I think less about pointing out what it is that they're doing, and I'm actually more curious about what they experienced. So in a comment with a charge, tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more. What else you got? Tell me more. You know why? Because I can handle it.
Right.
And I think if there's a prayer that women actually have, it's like, can I be seen, heard, and loved as is in my shambles, in my mess, in my projections, in my pain? Is there a man out there that can actually hold that without wanting to correct me or point to me or pull out the thing that's so obvious? I'm not worried about the obvious. I'm more curious in how deeply can I actually hold your heart in your pain to allow you to actually have a new imprint of what I believe masculinity can be.
I love
what's
that.
possible, right? So I think what is coming up in the comments is an opportunity for a really big it sounds like an opportunity for a really big conversation of like coffee talks, of like when we air it and when we share it and when we hold space for it without wanting to change it, that's the medicine. There's so much medicine in it. It's so easy for us as humans to want to point to, well, you've done that too, or you've done that too. I'm just more curious about what people have experienced so that I can draw closer to them, because through the charge, I'm not in connection. And what I really typically hear in charge is, I'd love to be connected again, but I've got this stuff in the way. And when that stuff starts to dissolve, we start to get to the connection, we start to get to transparency, we start to build trust again, and we get everything that we want, which is we want to be in unity again. So
my question, just to go a level deeper.
Yeah.
So what would be the difference between holding a woman's storm and recognizing its abuse?
Yeah. That's part of the process. In my experience, I thought it, or I took it as an absolute badge of honor to be able to withstand that which I can now see was abusive, or language that was abusive. There was actually, even some physical kind of pestering that would happen, which, I'm not going to call abusive, but I would call it over the line of what I want in relationship. I think there's very important distinctions in relationship as to when we step into it. This is the agreements. This is how we treat each other. And I think, in modern day relationships, a lot of people don't have those agreements. They just kind of get swept away. And then the stuff happens. And then it's like, the pestering comes out, the shadow comes out, the poking comes out. And again, back to the warrior or the man, if he doesn't really, if he's chameleon and he's allowing himself to like hold all of that, or vice versa, if she's just like, I need to be in this relationship, I'll put up with this, then, it's not going to serve anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I'm gonna actually read one more comment.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Just because
I'm curious.
Huh?
I'm curious.
Yeah,
when I see charges, it kind of points.
Yeah, there's something there, right?
Kind of points to something in the collective that I might not be tapped into.
Yeah, I'll find the one with the most likes. Okay, with the second most likes. I just read the one that did have the most. You are not being shit on. You are being held accountable and asked to elevate if you want to partner with us. You just don't like what women are saying about you. Your top hurt is a hurt ego. Our top hurt is death because you didn't like something we said or did. We are being mocked for centuries and we can cope with that. We don't go, what? We are being mocked for centuries and we can cope with that. We don't go kill another man after our ego got hurt. So no, it's in no way comparable.
Keep going. Give me one more.
I don't think it's an overcorrection at all. I think the pendulum has to swing all the way on the opposite direction before it can come back to center. And it just hasn't swung all the way to the other side yet. And that makes men very uncomfortable because it highlights just how much damage has been done over vast amounts of time. It's like when white people want black people to be over racism and let's just move on to getting along. Well, the damage is so massive that we haven't experienced a full pendulum swing yet. It's that deep. It's that extreme. Those grouped on the side of the oppressor, of course, want it to be over now. LOL. It's just that energetic mechanics don't work that way.
Shoo. It's heated up in the comments.
Yeah. I know. I like.
Great.
It's true though. It is true. So I think we're a prisoner of our own perspective. So you initially want to read that as a man. You're like, wait, it ain't that deep, but it is.
Yeah,
it is that deep.
Yeah.
Especially if you've never grown up as a woman.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe I could be more precise. But no, in a lot of ways, I still think it's an overcorrection. And I think that a lot of us are saying it's your fault rather than coming together.
Yeah.
But I think that's a natural response. But there's two ways of thinking. We brought up, slavery and all this stuff. Malcolm versus Martin Luther King.
Right.
One's nonviolent, one's whatever means necessary. What's more effective?
Right.
When it comes to trying to connect with somebody. Do those damn dishes right now, or I love it when you do the dishes.
Exactly.
So that's why I said it's overcorrecting.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of anger and hate and resentment.
It's a purge. I mean, we're in a collective purge.
Yeah.
If anything, during the COVID and during the lockdown, it's just like a lot of people went through a lot of stuff. It was really polarizing and traumatic, and there was a lot of fear, and people had loss and death and confusion. And, here we are just years later. It's like all of that stuff, that sediment that sits at the bottom, it needs to work itself up. Well, there's a lot of wars being fought in the name of men. And I think when there's wars happening, that energy, that particular frequency, that polarizing happens again. So we just went from one incredibly polarizing event that could have probably taken decades for people to truly unpack the job loss, the people sitting at a dinner table, one wearing a plastic outfit because they're afraid of something, and hugging people through like that. And what that did to humanity is something that will be written about, for years to come, because we're still feeling into the damage. Now we're in a whole different layer. So ultimately, what's happening is all the shit from decades upon decades is coming to the surface. And I think we as men have an incredible opportunity to listen.
Yeah.
To get curious. I wonder why you have that view. I wonder if we could come together a little bit closer if I wonder a little bit more about why you have that view without wanting to correct you. Now, granted, in social media and in the comments, that's a full-time job, and I understand it. And I also understand that for that one person that made that comment, if they felt seen and heard in that comment by you in particular, that's an imprint of something that in their nervous system, they can track to say, that felt good. That felt good. And I think what's missing is a lot of people aren't having that felt good moment.
Right.
And so everybody's looking for who's the person to offer them that feel good moment, and it's not happening.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like a degradation.
Right. And you brought up the purge. I think the purge is necessary, right? It's we want growth to feel good. It doesn't always feel that way. Sometimes it can be chaotic and messy.
Incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And purposeful.
Yeah.
Juicy. Like there's a lot of gold in what I'm hearing in that conversation. And I'm naturally curious as to what this conversation's going to bring up, because I'm curious about what women are curious about.
Yeah.
I do my best to kind of tap into the collective of comments or just what I'm sensing in small places and spaces, but I don't know like the whole big overarching thing. But I feel what I sense from them of what's missing in masculinity is the same thing that I feel in my body. So I don't feel like we're too terribly far off. And when we get out of our own way of the conversation of how it makes us feel to actually hold their peace around how women have been hurt by men, when I can get out of the way, I can actually, oh, yeah, I've been hurt that way too. Oh, I'm disgusted with what I see. And in fact, this is the nastiest I've ever seen. And it's time for it. Like when we come together and have the conversation and we hold the new standard, that and only that is when change happens. It's not going to happen with the back and forth of you did this to me or you're not taking ownership or responsibility of your piece. It's like we get to come together to create mass change. It just comes back to the brainwash piece, left versus right, man versus women, this versus that. Like as long as we're there, nothing's changing.
Right. So to the women in the comments, I hear you. Your viewpoint is valid. I see you.
Tell me more.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
All right. I just love your writing.
Thank you.
Because it fires me up. And this is a good transition. Because it's really talks about the essence of finding yourself and masculinity and even femininity. This doesn't have to be just men, but you said you wanted to be trusted. Good. Then go to hell. The one inside you. Sit in the dark alone until you no longer fear what you find. What does that mean?
Well, I'm speaking to initiation in this framework. And when I say initiation, what do you think of when it comes to masculine initiation? Where in your life have you been initiated? Maybe recently. What would you consider an initiation that you've gone through in 2025?
You mean like an invitation to step up?
Invitation to get to know yourself a little more intimately?
I had a breakup.
Okay.
So that would be an initiation.
Yes.
That's where you in the relationship you're expecting life to go a certain way. Then that person's no longer there, and you're all alone.
Yes.
And the plans that you had for the future are no longer the same.
Boom.
then you think about the past, and in this present moment, you feel kind of broken at that time.
Sure.
So I think that would be like an initiation.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an aspect of the initiatory process. And I speak to it a lot about initiation and how the process is missing from Western culture, and how in so many ways men go through different initiations and don't often really realize it. But with every initiation, there's step one, which is disruption. And that can be job loss, that could be relationship loss. Oftentimes it's health, but it's some piece of your identity that gets disrupted. Okay. And what I've noticed after working with so many men across the world is this is usually the catalyst that creates the opportunity or the invitation for more. But what happens is a lot of men don't execute thoroughly the next step of the initiation, which is the descent. Okay. And when I say the descent, you're probably thinking going like way down, right? And in some ways it's true, but it's going inward. And in this inward, I'm curious, after your relationship ended, are there questions that were kind of running on autopilot that you told about yourself, or about what this means to you that the relationship didn't work, or what this means about you? Because this is the part in the descent where a lot of men externalize the responsibility piece and just kind of carry on with the wound of this always happens to me, or this person did this to me, without the ownership. So it kind of segues into the comment section of what a lot of people are experiencing, and why I think initiation is so important, because in this space, when it's done alone, it can be fruitful. When it's done with a group or community, you can excavate a little bit more, because you actually get to reveal more of yourself to others. And then you're kind of held in this, I just took off my mask moment, and I've never done that before. And there's a freedom to that. But there is this vulnerability of like, I thought I would never fail, and now I'm a failure because so I'm curious with this, particular post and in your descent, was there any, because we've talked about, this in private, but I am going to bring it to the public a little bit.
Okay.
If there were a story that, you told yourself about this breakup, is there a particular thing that came through that you got to work through, that you got to really look at and kind of come home to yourself with?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to give up too many details.
No, not at all. Like the crux, the nugget.
In a lot of ways, I could say, you did this to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still am looking at, what did I do to make this happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like in what way did I cause for this to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's a group effort.
Yeah.
It's a partnership, a tug and pull.
Yeah.
And we made it happen together. But a nugget that I got is, and I love that I do these podcasts because they reinforce some really great nuggets.
Yeah.
No matter how much you know up here, if you don't do that body work, when shit hits the fan, it's like an operating system that just happens.
Okay.
So for me, it's being able to hold that storm when necessary. It's the fear and shame dynamics that come out, and realizing where, like I look back and I realize where, okay, she brought this to me and it made me feel shame, and I brought this to her and she feels fear, and we're doing this little tug of war back and forth, not understanding each other's language.
Sure.
And if we were to go back and just bring up the same conversations in different ways, connect before you correct, things like that, maybe it works.
Yeah.
You know? So it's really, what I've taken from that is just thinking how I can learn to communicate in a way that a partner will listen or understand or actually receive.
Beautiful.
But I also know sometimes they may not be ready to receive either.
Sure.
But it's also understanding when that is.
Yeah. That's the elixir.
Yeah.
Like that nugget, and thank you for sharing that. That piece is what I'm speaking to when I say, good, go to hell.
Yeah.
Sit in silence and get to really know yourself. What is the voice telling you? Is the voice true about yourself? So many men hit the disruption point and they'll ghost, they'll move on, they'll carry on back to the matrix of the everyday thing without actually going into the deep descent. And in that descent, you spoke to shame, you know, and we get the opportunity to feel into that shame and where that shame might have actually been there. And I might have been carrying that from the last one and the last one, or maybe the shame is just a piece of my genetic coding that came from my parents. I don't get too trapped in the who did this to me or why. I get more curious about the sensation or the feeling that arises when somebody pokes the bear. Okay, like we can get lost in the sauce, especially in the spiritual modality, childhood wounds. Like, boy, that is a never-ending ocean that one can swim in. I sense that there's some shame there. Okay, so if I'm going to look into the mirror, where am I out of integrity? And maybe this is just being maybe what it is that person's doing is they're revealing something to me that I know to be true, but I just haven't felt it yet. And so that mirror is the invitation for me to actually come clean with myself, which in the initiatory process is the part where we get to drop the mask and be like, look, I'm totally out of integrity. I was presenting something to you that actually isn't true. This is who I am. And now I'm going to walk in step by step with the person that I believe myself to be true to be. Doesn't happen overnight. When we say we're a man of integrity, we need some action and a lot of follow through, especially if in the past we dropped the ball over and over and over and over again. And so when I say, go to hell and good, it's like my prayer is for men to get incredibly familiar with this space of themselves, the shadow aspect of what they're showing and who they believe themselves to truly be when nobody's watching. And in that space, we can come to meet somebody and be real. Like, this is the real, this is sacred. This is you. Thank you for meeting me here. Now I know this is you. You don't have to show everything to everybody. I understand in society, everybody wears a particular mask, a particular presentation. That's okay. I get it. But the overarching theme of who you are is a person that shows who you are. This is who I believe to be true.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then, that makes so much sense. And I did the bridge very soon after. And that was incredible.
Yeah. Did you get to poke the spot?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The bridge will make you real uncomfortable real fast in a way that I've never been uncomfortable before. And you get a chance to go to hell for a little bit.
Amazing.
One of the things that I found out about myself through, is it Ron Dory? What's the game called that they play?
I'm not sure.
Okay, there's a game that they play, and either way, you got to find out if you do the bridge.
Sure.
But you figure out there's ways that people, their traumatic responses.
Sure.
Fight, flight, ease, appease, fawn. So I found out I have a little fight and fawn in me.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of like.
Was that news to you?
Yeah,
Like,
the fawning was.
it's awesome.
It was news.
Yeah.
But then I was able to look back in my life and see it where I was doing this.
Sure.
Where I'm having the mask up, like, you know what?
Mm.
I'm just gonna adapt to whatever the situation needs to be.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Coming out of that and coming out
Yeah.
of this relationship, perfect timing. Bringing that into new relationships, I think I'm able to show up even more as myself.
It's incredible.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but it's we're always a work in progress, right?
Of course.
Like, you know,
yeah.
especially like people like listening, you see all the followers and the quotes and the speaking and the hard hitting this and that.
Sure.
It don't matter who you're talking, like who's talking, we're all a work in progress.
Oh man, we're
All of us.
always learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the beauty is like we're just having the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
That we are learning. We just chose to say, like, I'm going to show a lot.
Exactly.
I'm going to show you a lot. And I think ultimately at the bottom of it, that's what people really find inspiring. Not as much as what we say, although there could be some nuggets, and we aim to drop those golden codes. I certainly do, because like the attention span on social media is incredibly tight. That's why I got to like pierce the thing. But I think it's more, can we show up
Yeah.
and be true, right? Like, I'm not performing with you,
Yeah.
you know, and I know you're not performing with me. I could feel you. There's this sense of like, we can just go there, we could fuck up, we could say whatever, but we're showing up, and let's keep showing up, and let's keep being real. Let's keep being true. That's what I'm speaking to when I'm talking about go to hell. Like what you just said, that nugget that you came back with, just, there's a little fawn in there. Amazing, bro. Like, that's some truth. And now you have a little more of awareness of who you are, thanks to mirrors that are using modalities to show you more of who you are. You know, the initiation process that I've done is completely different. But they're all getting to the same piece of, I'm curious to know more of who I am. And the only way that I get that is to be in relationship to others. And if we shut that out as a society, then we're actually the thing that we're asking for, which is, I need you to be more accountable. I need you to be more accountable. And if we completely shut out the world, then we're not actually going to accomplish that which we say that we want others to do.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Well, we all turn into robots.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. I'm going to go to another question. What happens to a generation of men that's raised to fix everything else other than themselves?
I think we're seeing it.
It's a generation of men that women can't trust.
I mean, let me first preface, but I think there are some absolutely incredible men out there. I really believe it, and therefore I see it. I see it on social media. I don't attune to it that often, but every so often I need to see it, you know, because as I'm walking through and I feel into the polarization of what's happening and all this stuff, I'm just like, oh, like where are the gems? Like I forget, but then I want to remember. But I think what's happening is there's a degradation of connection. There's a degradation of the heart. There's a disconnect from a higher power. And so you ask what happens. I think there's an absolute disconnect. And I sense it. I see it. I feel it. I hear it. It's in your comments. It's in culture. It's in society. And I think there's just a really, really, really deep prayer that's happening across the world is for, you know, men to rise, for men to answer the call, for men to speak from truth, for men to not be afraid of rejection, for men to enter into shame, to wear the grief that they've walked through their entire life. Just wear it, just let it slop all over you and don't let it become you. Just start to transcend all of this pain that we've been carrying around so that we can start to come together and that we can start to reshape what leadership looks like. So we could start to reshape what community looks like. So I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Mm-hmm. I think we're seeing the pendulum swing so far, and that's why I'm like raising the volume on what I'm saying, because I'm seeing, Houston, we have a problem. Mm-hmm. Like we have a big problem, and with what we're seeing happening, I think men are more reluctant to speaking up because they're like, I'm not going to say anything.
Well, you said what we see, because of what we see happening, men are more reluctant to speak up. What are we seeing happening?
Well, we're seeing wars happen in our name that we're not, like in my case, I'm not a stand for a genocide. That's where I come from. And I know that is part of the culture that I'm in that's happening on behalf of my name. And I say that because I live here. And so I have a democracy that's making this decision for me, and I do not comply. I have a democracy that's making the decision to give people shots to lose weight, Ozempic. And I do not comply. Like all of these decisions that are being made, I don't comply with. But if you want to speak out against that in the world, shots fired, right? And most men don't have the nervous system capacity to handle those shots, right? Because they make it about them. Mm-hmm. And so we have a generation of silent men that would rather go and watch a sports game because it's much easier for men to wield the sword in the name of a sports team or in the name of, Trump versus this than for them to actually wield the sword in the mirror of their own delusion, which is, I've got to pay attention to this. This is a good thing to look at. These are things that affect a lot of people. There's trauma that happens. Like, can we talk about this? Mm-hmm. And so when we get so polarized, when we're in the name of war, which we have been forever, mm-hmm. men go silent because men don't want to speak out against that which they see because they're afraid of that which is going to come at them. And so that's the degradation that I believe that we're witnessing. And there's just some incredible people that are showing up and they're speaking to this. And I'm not saying this as a right or wrong. I'm saying these are incredibly massive things that are happening in the world. Mm-hmm. And yet I see guys scrolling on TikTok in the steam room when it's like, what would happen if we actually came together and we started talking about this and we started building allegiances and alliance and we had this connection and we started to get to the shared values of how we show up, how we treat each other, how we want the world to like, these are big high level conversations.
Right.
Who's going to do them if we don't talk about them?
Right. But we're worried about I show speed and tries to not. I'm sure you don't even know who those people are.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah. But I assume it's entertainment. Right?
Yeah, they're the two of the biggest streamers in the world.
Oh wow, okay. And, yeah. Didn't know.
But they're not talking about these conversations, which is fine. We need entertainment as well. But I think it leads to the bigger conversation that we even started with. There's a concentrated effort from the top to dilute what we're thinking about, what we're concentrating on. So there's these other distractions being put in our face, like sports, what's on TV, scrolling
sports,
TikTok,
Hollywood.
What is it? What are the newspapers? See, I don't even know because I don't look at them. But just
Right.
yeah, just the stupid news about what's going on with this celebrity, what's going on with that celebrity.
The gossip rags.
Yeah, whatever you call those.
Right. And it's always been that way.
Yeah, you're right. Because we had this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like, has it really always been this way? You're like, yo, I've been on this earth a little longer than you.
Yeah, right. It's always been this way. But what's brilliant about this time right now, and that's why I'm able to have this conversation, is that we're in the age of revelation, where with AI and with social media, we're able, very tiny window right now, Sacred, and that window is closing, where conversations of this magnitude in a year from now, what I just said would not make it to the air. YouTube would take it down. Okay. YouTube might even take this down. I'm just saying, because those that own the media want to dictate the narrative. And so if we have technocrat billionaires buying TikTok and ChatGPT and YouTube, all of the media that we've gotten so accustomed to, and a lot of people, look, I use social media as like dessert recipes, and like I get my gluten-free ideas over here, and that's about all I use it for. But there are people that use it for news. There's people that use it for media, and they're believing that which they see, and they're taking it on as their operating system, and they're continuing the left versus right, or however whatever it's feeding them to keep them divided. It's incredibly divisive. And so I'm tracking and I'm paying attention. I mean, we're in 2025. I would venture to believe that nearing 2027, the filter of the information that is coming out is going to be so dialed in and so curated in terms of who gets banned and who gets to speak what. I'm really like reveling in this moment where I'm able just to speak the truth from my heart as to what I see. I'm not telling anybody to think or do anything a particular way. I'm just recognizing there's this moment in time where we can hold this really big conversation. Are you concerned that IG isn't going to allow us to have a conversation like this in a year? Would you be a little like, wait a minute, that's my right, right?
Do you think they're going to take that away?
100%. Yeah, it's already happening. Like I'm tracking those that are on X, that are on IG, that are on YouTube, that are speaking out to very big issues, and it's just getting pulled and pulled and pulled. So if influencers' business is built on exposing this information, I'm going to show you this. You look at it this way. If they can't get that stuff uploaded, there's no business. Where are they going to go? Well, there's going to be alt media programs, and there already is. And so I could see a movement towards that happening. I believe it's already happening. But we're living in an incredible time here where we get to have these conversations of, wait a minute, all of this information is being shown to us. What decisions do we want to make with them? Do we want to look away? Ignorance is bliss, or sovereignty is awareness and actionable steps that are in alignment with who I want to be? And that comes to the poisoning of the food, the poisoning of the water, the clothing industry, all of these things, like they've amplified or doubled down in the last couple years, and they're big conversations to have. Like we could talk about mindset until the cows come home. Yeah. But if your gut's filled with parasites because you're eating fast food, you can't mindset yourself out of that much inflammation and parasitic damage, right? Facts. So like mind, body, and spirit is the way I like to approach things. And, the spiritual connotation is what's being pulled out of society, because there's no spirit in the virtual space. That's a virtual space. Spirit's within us. Like that's our connection to source. That's our intuition. That's the juice. And that's the juice that I'm going to continue to point to coming back home to. Like, that's the magic.
You said, to the women who've been ghosted, gaslit, love bombed, or spiritually seduced, what does integrity in a man actually mean to you? And then you told them to drop a comment.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking a little bit off camera. You said this is the playbook, right? They're telling us how they feel.
Yeah, I mean, and this goes back to your, like, when you were in the comments, this is me being curious, because I'm like, tell me, like, I have my definition of integrity, but what do you need of men?
Yeah.
And it was a full-on sermon.
Yeah.
Like, they dropped wisdom, they dropped truth, they dropped experience, but there was space. Like, there wasn't, like, they took the moment to really feel into it and share it. It's not heated. It's not charged. It's just, this is truly what I need. And if I were to just take a time out and a pause, it's the most important post I've ever made in terms of relational work, because I got hundreds of women to share that which they need. And if I were to condense it, it all came back to the same thing. And you can read it.
Yeah, I want to read a couple comments. I mean, this is your post. Should I just go by the ones that people have liked the most because it resonated with the most people?
Sure.
Because there's a lot of people responding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of women responding. So
yeah, I wanted to create an opportunity for them to drop their wisdom.
Savage Stars 33 says, brothers, kings, we need you now. This broken world thirsts for you. And yet we see how they have targeted you from every conceivable direction. We see how they have sought to poison and pollute your every move. We see how they have attempted to calcify and disconnect you from your heart, and therefore your connection to source, to God. Your ability to create everything you came here to create has been suffocated and stifled through continuous distraction and disembodied daily pursuits. You, the true kings of this world, have been placed into unnatural contortion so that you never wake up to the truth. But the sleeping warrior within you is stirring. Your sisters, your queens feel it in every awakening cell. You in your full power, you in your healed heart is the very medicine, the very antidote we require to overthrow and disembowel the darkness that is currently operating this realm. Brothers, you are so loved. You are so held. We, your sisters, your queens, are rising by your side. Marry me?
How did that feel when you read that?
Yo.
Right?
Who is this?
It keeps going and going and going.
I got to go back to the original statement. To the women who've been ghosted, gaslit, or love bombed, or spiritually seduced, what does integrity in a man actually mean to you? Give me a man that may be healing, but honest, that may not be able to give me everything right away, but that acknowledges that he is damaged and needs repair, and that only requests I love him softly, so his past trauma doesn't push me away that I can work with. Push me away that I can work with.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another one. And I didn't read the other one's name, but I'll flash it on the screen.
Okay. Yeah.
So you get this. They can get the credit.
Yeah.
Integrity in a man means we don't have to carry it all alone. It means emotional consistency, follow through, and the willingness to co-hold the weight of life. We're tired of being the initiator, the space holder, the one who always bends. Integrity looks like presence, like someone who doesn't disappear when it gets real, someone who honors their word, not just in romance, but in responsibility, who is able to hold the feminine emotion without crumbling, softness, gentleness, concern. We don't need perfect, but we want honest, steady, and initiated investment. Hey, that's real.
I think she speaks on behalf of the majority of the collective.
Yeah.
For that. And I think it's a fair request too.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, because these are all the things that I've asked myself of how do I get to expand on it? How do I get to expand in presence? How do I get to stop pressing the eject button when shit gets fierce? And, you know, she's holding up something to me that's basically, I said I was going to do something and I didn't follow through. And it doesn't feel good to get called in to what my word actually stands for. So, you know, this particular post and these particular comments, I do find to be absolute gold and an invitation for any man to actually, like, you want to read into like the hearts and the minds and feel into the compassion. I feel nothing but compassion in there in the comments, you know, like there's probably plenty of charge and rightfully so, but I feel compassion. I feel patience and, you know, and I feel a prayer too of like, wow, we know what you guys are up against. It's thick. It's super thick navigating this, you know, experience with all that we have up against us. And yet we still get to walk through and be true and real and consistent and, you know, own our failures and, you know, own what we need. It's like, it's such a beautiful dance and invitation. So really honoring the women that came through with, you know, their compass of what integrity is, because it helps me redefine it, what it is for me. I'm always stretching it. It's such a big word, man. Integrity. Like I never asked myself, what does integrity mean to me? I just was going about my life.
Yeah.
I do something that's now I would consider to be out of integrity, and I would just look away. You know, like nobody saw that. Nobody saw that. And there's enough nobody saw that collected into my shadow psyche, and I became somebody that I wasn't proud of anymore. And I think that's what we're looking at right now is a society of men that haven't necessarily looked at all the things that they're not proud of because they've shelved it. And so there's a lot of shame in that, and understandable. We get to move through that. That's the descent. That's the opportunity to look at that thing and then come back and speak to it and through it with the wisdom and the elixir of there's beauty in the fucking cave. There's beauty in getting really real with yourself as to where you're out of integrity and how you want to show up to be. Because when I think of man up, there's no man up. It's like what we're asking for is integrity. Like be an honorable man. Like be honorable, right? And honorable and output aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, so much juice in that.
There's a lot of juice in that. And it's, yeah, you said being honorable and output is not the same thing. And that, yeah, that's, you know, I think this is why the, you know, like the red pill space, the red pill, Andrew Tate, Myron Gaines, for a while, like that viewpoint was adopted by men. And I think it was leading them astray. But that viewpoint teaches output. You're useless unless you're a rich man with a Ferrari and 1,000 different women. But
yeah.
I think the reason that was adopted by men is because society is telling men that there's something wrong with them, but they're the ones offering the solution.
Yes.
Well, if you make a bunch of money, that's the solution. Instead of society just saying there's something wrong with you.
Right.
But so this is the other side of that conversation, the one we're having.
Yeah.
The solution is integrity.
Right.
Redefining what a man is. Because we can't all have the Ferrari. I'm sorry, we can't.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's not what matters.
Right.
Being a good man matters. Having values matters.
And one of the values may be to be incredibly successful.
Yeah.
And to be incredibly influent And with that, I'm going to be able to show up bigger because but not to get likes on social media because you got a Ferrari. It's like that is super fleeting.
But and the thing about the Ferrari is if that's your identity, without it, what are you?
Correct.
Like, what do you have when you strip the man down of all the possessions?
You have the question, which is, who am I?
Yeah.
And that's when life begins. Right there. It doesn't begin with the Ferrari. It actually ends with the Ferrari because that's the mountaintop that you thought you were supposed to get.
Yeah.
And then you got to realize you got to wash it. You got to clean it. Nobody really gives a shit about it.
Yeah.
And was that so fun? You know, like did that pay off? Yeah.
Last time we talked about Will Smith, right? And what you just said made me think about him again because he had something that he said that was, I guess, kind of controversial, but I got it. Okay. He said that, we talk about rock bottom, but there's something else called, what was it? Was it mountaintop high? Or, hold on, let me find it. Because it's.
I know we talked about Shaq. You and I talked about Shaq.
Oh, no. We talked about Shaq. You're right.
Yeah.
Me and Preston talked about Will Smith. Hold on, because this is such a valuable lesson that goes into what you just said. Okay, so he talked about how we all know what rock bottom is, the lowest of the low. You get there and you're like, there's nowhere else but up. But we don't talk about cliff top because most people don't achieve what that would actually be. So like a Will Smith who has all the possessions they could ever have, anything that money could buy, yet you still are up there at the top feeling like, what does this all mean? So again, when we strip everything down, who am I?
Yeah.
Because again, the end of life is the Ferrari, but you're going to, once you get the Ferrari, most of the time you ask those people who got it, does it mean anything?
Yeah.
And they're all going to tell you no.
What probably meant more to them than anything, and for me personally, it's the journey, man. Yeah. Like the juice in the journey. Like I'm going to pause here. It's 11/11. It's November 11th. 5 years ago, I was rerouted in my life. Maybe it was 6 years ago. I can't quite remember. And the corporate job that I had, ton of security, ton of safety, it was exactly what I needed at that time, was rerouted to you no longer have this. And for the last, half a decade, I've gotten to go on this incredible path. And I pray this path never ends because it's so juicy sacred. Because here I am, fast forward, I'm sitting here talking to you about the wisdom, about the elixir of the years and the experience of all the things that I've done wrong and what I've learned from them, right? I think I'm not telling people how to be. I'm just telling what's worked for me. And in my experience on a mass level, most men can relate to it. But if there's any nugget, if there's any wisdom that I can give, it's to fall in love with the journey, to fall in love with mystery, with wonder. I have no idea how or why 2 days ago, the shirt that you're wearing right now was finished, completed, and sent to me for me to watch you wear the birth of the creation of what I felt to be missing in the world, that 10 years ago, I would have laughed my ass off at Wayne attempting to begin a clothing line. Like, what are you talking about? What? I was going to Men's Warehouse wearing sweater vests. I had no idea, no sense of my own identity or expression whatsoever. This journey is full of miracles. And it's full of struggles, and it's full of questions about how resilient can you be? How deeply can you trust? Man, when those tariff things happen and the world and all of the providers, all the textile companies, all the prices just went through the roof. And I said, I don't think I like, what's going to happen, And then I get to ask the question over and over and over again is, what is this redirect? And what is the journey going to provide for me? And what is it going to look like? And it never stops looking amazing because I can continue to see how it grows. It's like a seed that I water. And as I continue to water it, it starts to grow. And I'm not concerned about what the full garden looks like. I love the process of watering. And so I think in this life, what you and I get to do, and what so many of your listeners who are feeling like inspired, we're just watering others, right? And we're tending to our own garden. And you and I in particular, we get to kind of water each other's garden. We get to lift each other up in, the way that you're bringing fashion through, the way that I'm bringing fashion through. We get to like meet in this space and hold each other in this excitement and know that it just gets better. Yeah. It just keeps expanding because we're here for it. Yeah. So the mountaintop doesn't exist. That's only an illusion. The whole thing, the whole time can be the mountaintop. And I feel like I'm constantly living the mountaintop because I'm on purpose. I'm thrilled to be alive. I'm grateful for a newfound opportunity to express my voice in a way that I never was able to do. And so, when it comes to all of those flashy quick fixes and thing, this walk, the walk of a sovereign man, the walk of like truly knowing yourself, it's grueling, it's gutting, it's confronting, it's needed, and it's so worth it.
That's so real. How does that relate to Sovereign One? So Sovereign One, the audience doesn't know.
Yeah.
This is what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Sovereign One, the Sovereign One t-shirt.
Yeah, me too.
So is Wayne. It's probably the most comfortable t-shirt I've ever worn in my life.
Thank you.
Nailed it. I want you to I want you to tell the audience a little bit about it, though.
I appreciate that. Yeah, honestly, the entire journey was about me trusting myself and me really like going into the deep place of like, can I do this? I have a construction background. So since I was 17, I've been in construction. I've worked in blue collar worlds and management, facilities management. I know really well how to work in buildings and make buildings look good. But as I've been on this, awakening journey and expression journey, I kind of recognized there was something in my journey that was missing, which was a brand that I really got behind, that like got me where I could feel it. Like, give me a deep V. I got a tattoo. I want to like reveal my chest. I want a material that's biodegradable, and I just couldn't find anything that I could get behind. So I went on this magnificent journey that is probably going to go and go and go, where I got to teach myself, like understand textiles, reach out to companies and get samples, and hire seamstress to make it. And, fast forward, this has been going on for years in the background of my life, Sacred, years. And it's been the journey of delaying gratification. Like, I used to want gratification immediately to satiate my story of worthiness. But this story was a journey of knowing, like, I'm already worthy of this brand, of everything that it brings. I just get to walk the path and allow myself to learn and allow myself to let life be a teacher by putting the clothes, some of the materials I didn't like, some of the fits I didn't like, put them on my friends and fail. I've had 1,000 failures within the entire process before I've even pre-saled. And every single failure led to this moment where I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like, I nailed it, right? And that's great. And for me, that's the journey of the Sovereign One. It's like the journey of being humble, of being able to let life redirect you and dismantle you, and also reveal to you that life wants you to win. and it's going to present the people and circumstances to show up to make that thing win, as long as you're open to receiving it. And so this has been a beautiful, path for me, of which I'm going to be, launching end of this year into the beginning of the year, the first pre-sale. Got a dope model named Sacred too. And so, it's been a fun thing where I get to bring all the men in this community where we hang out. We talk about fashion all the time. We have these little, conversations, and got to bring them together to be my models. Like
was fun.
Yeah. Like
that
what it was just like this little moment in time where I can look back and be like, I'm just so grateful for these dudes that believed in me and showed up. And so, thank you for believing in me and having the conversations with me often where let's go, let's bring it through.
Yeah, I love that. And if you are a tall man specifically, there's going to be no other shirt for you besides these.
Boom. Yeah, I know, because you're 6'5", right?
Yeah.
And I'm 6'4". So like it's kind of one of those design things where I'm just like, I've been missing this.
Yeah. I can't wait. But I just wanted to, give you a little love too.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And I love that you brought it. You talked about the story and the journey and the path it's taken to create this.
Yeah.
Because that's how you build connection with your brand anyways, right? It's
Big
like,
time.
I respect the journey and the intentionality that you've put behind it. So
yeah,
I love it.
Beautiful.
Can't wait for it to be out.
Appreciate that. That's what I felt was missing. And like if I continue to look at what's missing, I'm not creating what gets to fill the void.
Right.
And so after years and years of being plagued with not having the right size, the right fit, I'm like, damn it, I'm just going to make the thing.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. And then once I started, I was like, I don't know a thing about this. And I continue to get schooled over and over again. And it's incredible. It's fun. And maybe in 5 years, I'll teach myself how to build cars. I don't know. Whatever life is asking, whatever our soul is calling, like, I can't look away from that. I get to really step into that and move that.
Yeah.
And that's the surrender experiment. Like, that's where it's like, okay, take me. Let's go for a ride. Yeah. And, the invitation is just to go for a ride, to follow your dreams, to trust, to believe it, to, into the physical. I think it's one of the most juiciest aspects of being a human is it comes from here. It goes into here. We speak it, we breathe it, and then it's reality. Into here. So like what is on you and what is on me was a thought that came into me the moment I pulled away from the jungles of Peru. And that thought took such hold, it had a charge to it, where I'm like, oh, I can't look away from this. I got to follow it. And the more I follow it, the more charge I feel. And I'm like, oh, that's passion. Like, I'm passionate about this. I'm excited. So we get to follow our passions,
100%.
And that's the joy.
Yeah. And for the audience listening, it's something that we really need to be reminded of, because especially when, you're stuck on a corporate job that you may not love.
Yes.
And you adapt yourself to a routine that is okay.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to, instead of just go to work and then on weekends relax, watch football, and do the same thing over and over again, living the same life 1,000 times. I think it's important to, if you get like a ping to do something like a clothing company, or for me right now, I want to DJ.
Yes.
So I've been DJing.
Yeah.
I've been learning to DJ. I did a DJ lesson and I've been like just practicing, and
I want to DJ too.
Yeah, really?
I do.
Yeah, it's just those little things.
Yeah.
Apply yourself, try it.
Right.
Like I'm just finding joy in just the dance that I'm doing on my own in my freaking office DJing.
Yes.
And will it turn into something else? Maybe not. But I'm enjoying the process, and you don't really find what your calling is or what what's going to fuel you or light you up for the next 10, 20, 30 years unless you try different things out.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something magical that happens when you believe in yourself and you actually bring it through. There's a sense of trust and resilience that can't be taken away.
Yeah.
It just can't. No matter what happened along this path, I had come too far. I had pumped myself up too long. I had had so many failures. Whatever macro failure, it wasn't going to touch me anymore because I'm just like, I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna get this thing out through the world for myself. And I'm gonna do it for myself. I'm gonna go broke doing it. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna just delay all, like, it has been the deepest test for me to delay gratification because it was just a little pattern I got to see where I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna keep, like, what if another company did it? You know, and there would be a new company that came out and I'm like, oh, they came pretty close. Like, maybe I should just quit. Looking for reasons to jump out. And then it became like, no, this is me being true to my word. And this is me seeing it through all the way. And it's taken maybe 2.5 to 3 years.
Wow.
And I've been doing it in the background. And like, we hear all of these stories about guys living in the car, racking up credit cards, you know, going near broke. Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Go for it. Like that's where I'm coming from. Because the universe rewards with the level of diligence that's infused into something, because all that love, all of that belief, all of that truth is in the fabric. It's in the thread. So all of that love that I've poured into it, you're going to feel it, right? So when you're like, man, this is the one, this hits different. Well, it should, because that thing's been prayed over by hundreds of men and women in my life. And that's being infused into that which we wear. So that's what the world needs. The world needs more of our prayers being birthed. So go get it.
Yeah, for sure. And one more thing on Sovereign One. Before, like maybe 20 minutes before you came here, I was talking to my brother Sovereign. And I'm like, hey, I'm interviewing a guy. He changed the name of his company to Sovereign. You should have seen how he lit up.
Ooh, I love this.
Like he's like, what? Oh my God, that's so awesome.
Yes. There's a shirt with his name on it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for him to feel into it because the word holds something.
Sovereign.
Like, what is it? And for me, it's just been like, know thyself, because this journey has taught me, and it's always unfolding, but it taught me where I was outsourcing. It taught me where I didn't believe in myself. It taught me where I almost gave up. It taught me the failure. I don't know if I can ever compress a reel for the journey into that, but all of that is the juice of life.
Yeah.
And that word in particular, along with your name as well, like they just hold something in my world. So it's really cool to have this.
Yeah.
Oh, sacred. I'm a sacred king. Great. Oh, Sovereign. Great. That's my business name. We've got some karma together.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We kind of deviated from. We were talking about the post that you had made and how it was a window into
the blueprint
of what women are craving.
Yeah.
There was a part 2 to it. I wanted to go into that.
Yeah.
The part 2 is just as juicy. You had said, I asked the question, what do you need from men moving forward? What came next wasn't feedback, it was a sermon. Should I read the whole thing?
Yeah. This is a big one. So I would I think this one's gonna soar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Women showed up with truth, not to shame, but to echo each other's ache, to name the gap, to light the fire. This wasn't just a comment thread. It was sacred ground. She's not guarded, she's grieving. She's not cold, she's exhausted from being the anchor while men perform presence. and disappear when it gets real. And still she spoke with clarity, love, and lived experience. They named the gap between the words and actions, between being watched and being held, between a man showing up and a man staying. It wasn't one story. It was a shared memory, women remembering together. What it feels like to carry the cost of our confusion. What they asked for, not potential, not performance, not the healing journey as a shield. They asked for presence, truth, and a spine that holds when it's hard. This isn't a call out, it's a threshold. If her truth makes you flinch, you're not ready to lead her. You're not ready to hold her love. Boys run, men stay. When truth enters the room, boys get defensive, men get quiet. Men lean in, men take the mirror and do something with it. I've run before, but this time I'm staying. How we move forward, stop explaining, start embodying. Let her words reveal the work. Let your actions rebuild what silence broke. This is the real initiation, no praise required. To the men reading this, if you feel called out, good. Stay with it. Let it move you. Let it break the part of you that hides. Let it build the part of you that leads. We don't need more potential. We need men who show up without being begged. Men who hold truth without crumbling. Men who rebuild what our silence broke. To the women who spoke, you didn't just comment, you handed us the mirror, you gave the blueprint, you let us see where we've been blind, and somehow you still left the door open. We don't just see you, we feel you. And for those of us who are ready, we will earn the right to stand beside you, one embodied step at a time. Thank you for your voice, for your grace, for not giving up on what's still possible.
How'd that land?
I wish, like, these are the conversations that we need to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These are the conversations we need to have.
Yeah, that was a special moment in time. You know, I got to learn facilitation with the Sacred Sons.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to hold these conversations in a particular way where, you know, I allow people to share and to express, and they felt safe with me. They knew my background. They understood where I was coming from, and there was some safety there. Right. And so this was sacred ground because there was safety, because of the way that I facilitated the conversation. It wasn't, but you've done stuff too. It was, I just want to hear you. Like, I just want to know what's going on out there. Give me a pulse. I only hear what I hear in the locker rooms and things. And I feel like so much healing happens when we just listen.
I agree.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
Can we just listen? Can we just hold their hearts? Can we just hold, like, the little girl that's gotten hurt? You know, can I see that in my partner? I have a little picture.
It's all good, man.
I have so many incredible women in my life. And when I first started this journey, I did it for them. Like, I wanted to show up to be a better man. I wanted to show up to be a better father. I wanted my daughters to feel safe with me. And I wanted my mom to be proud of the man that I was becoming, because I wasn't. I wasn't a man that a mother would be proud of. And, you know, my mom's really sick right now, so prayers up for her. And that's what gripped me is I have a picture of my mother holding me. I have a picture of my partner when she was a kid, and I've got a picture of my daughters when they were little, and it's right by my laptop. And so when I see them as adults, I also remind myself that we're all children. We're all God's children. That's it. And there's an essence to that, like there's an innocence to that I pray we as a culture, we as a society get back to. The innocence underneath all of the polarization that's happened, because in that sweet lane, there's humanity and there's compassion. And I'm able to then learn from these women that show up. And so when I hold a conversation of this magnitude, I hold the maturity of the women that's speaking, and I also have reverence for the little child of my mom who was struggling when I was a kid with mental issues, and of my partner who was a kid who was struggling, feeling not seen, and my daughters having gone through divorce. It's a lot to hold. And yet we as men, we get this invitation and this opportunity to be that fertile ground for safety that they've never had. And that's my North Star, Sacred. That's why I show up to do these things, to have this conversation, because I'm just learning and I'm just inviting these conversations, because this is how we heal. This is the invitation back to our hearts for us to see humanity. And this is my prayer for your audience and for anybody listening, that we can just come back to this space and honor each other in a good way.
I love that.
Mm.
That's so real. Yeah, that's you made me think about, as you speak about your mom, you made me think about my brother and my mom and everyone. And one of the things that has been real new for me within the past couple of years is like, and I think I want to start doing that too. Keep their photos by my desk of them as a child.
Yeah.
But I've been looking at my mom like that lately. I grew up thinking that because you're an adult, you knew better. And my mom is wise beyond her years, and I go to her for lots of advice.
Yeah.
I can still see that little girl too.
It's beautiful.
And to be able to see that and hold her when she needs it, because she's a caretaker of my brother Sovereign.
Yeah.
For life.
Yeah.
And sometimes she needs someone just to hold what she's feeling in that moment. She calls me to do that. And I like that I can do that for her now.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's
so good.
Yeah.
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 And that's it. I mean, that's the
thing.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the nugget. That's the essence. That's what we do this for. That's what we have this conversation for, just to remember to slow it down.
Yeah.
To see the innocence and the humanity that we probably lost ourselves.
Yeah.
I was sharing with you right when I got here, there was the little Wayne dressing up like Don Johnson from Miami Vice, which is what I get such a kick out of. And I thought it was so cool. And here's the big Wayne wearing Sovereign one. And like, it's the arc of the creation, of the beautiful hero's journey of us, like really going through some challenging stuff, and us getting to hold more, us getting to reveal more, us getting to love more, us getting to trust more and show up more. And it's a beautiful, juicy ride.
Yeah. So I'm going to wrap it up here in a little bit. And you may not know the answer to this question. But it just made me think, so we have all types of, I was raised around all types of religions.
Yeah.
My sister and brother went to a Jewish school.
Okay.
I was raised around Christianity, Buddhism. My dad actually studied religion.
Yeah. Amazing.
And religion tells you the meaning of all of this. What do you think the meaning of all of this is?
I love that. I think the meaning is to create. if I were the creator and I would want to experience myself through millions of different lenses, I would do it for the joy of creating and creating and creating and creating. Like, I think we're here to create. And I also think we're here to guide each other back to ourselves, to love, to source, in whatever religion, whatever cultural context that is. I believe that we are here to remember the divinity of whom we are. And we get to do that in these little conversations where we're like, oh, that's real. Like, and there's a connection, right? And we get to draw this connection. And I also think that there's an aspect that we're here to change the world in an incredible way. Like, I think we all are incredibly powerful. We don't know and can't quite yet understand the technology of these bodies that we're using. But I do believe that we are here to remember and to go on this discovery of how powerful we are. And in that, we are heading towards this kind of era where so many people wake up and so many people come back to divinity and love. And we get to really walk and shake and move this world and experience all of the sensations, the touch, the sounds, the magnificent, the wonder of this life that we get to have in such a brief moment. So for me, I like to walk through this life in absolute awe and wonder. So if you ask me, what are we doing here? I think we're here to experience all of it as deeply as we can.
Do it for the plot.
Yeah.
Experience the dance. The meaning of life is the dance.
Yes. Or DJ.
Yeah. I love it. So I want to ask these final questions to kind of try to bridge the gap, I think, between communication with men and women. How can women hold men accountable without shaming them?
There's an incredible book that it's nonviolent communication, and it's brilliant. And there's a lot of understanding of language in there. And so, really, I think the first curiosity is, did what I say hurt you? Like, because if somebody's saying something and it poked the bear, we all need to be transparent as to how it made them feel. Let me bring it to my partner. My partner understands me, and she knows that if there's something that she needs of me, or that she's going to be kind of calling me up to that which I say that I am, maybe I've faltered, maybe I've forgotten, maybe I've kind of strayed away from being on purpose or my lane, she will gently, first, she'll touch me. Like, she'll put her hand on my shoulder. She'll just kind of rub me a little bit. No words. Okay, just connection. And there's just kind of like a soothing that happens. And like the touch kind of grounds me and prepares me. And I can kind of sense it where I'm just like, she's about to hit me with some. It's okay. Bring it through. Because like, I appreciate the way that she approached me. Because in the past, we've done it different ways. You got to do this different.
Yeah.
You're saying that you're this, but you're not, like, and you call yourself a sacred king. Like, words like that, that's just going to gut me.
Yeah.
And do we want to gut somebody, or do we actually want that person to fucking thrive? Do we want them to be awesome? Do we want a relationship to awesome? Or do we want to confirm the story that relationships all suck? Go ahead and gut them. Because that's a creation right there. But relationships are collaboration, right? This is like we are complements to each other. How do we complement each other better? Well, for us, it's really like gentle, easeful communication and entering into that space with a ton of grace. So she'll sit me down, she'll, kind of pet me a little bit, and she'll just be like, there's something that I want to bring through and just want to see if you're open or if you have the space for us to have this conversation, because it really means a lot to me. That's framing. Okay. Framing at the wrong time gives me an opportunity to say, I'm gassed. I don't even know. Like I might not respond to this. I might react to it in the wrong way. So like, can we pin this? Is it possible to pin it? And sometimes she'll tease me like, hey, are you going to be around tonight? She's checking my schedule. There's just something, she's not dropping there's something we need to talk about in advance to, get my nervous system out of whack. She's offering time. She's offering grace. She's offering space. It doesn't need to be done immediately. So many couples need to have like instant resolve and instant reactivity. And that's an exhausting game. We're in it for the long run. Right. So we're titrating our nervous systems to each other in a really gentle, kind way. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Bring it through. She'll be like, okay, cool. And then she'll bring it through and then she'll pause. And it's a really simple, like, how does it feel to hear that? And I'm just, this is something that I've noticed, and let me take ownership for it. Like, let me take ownership. Let me take responsibility. Or thank you for sharing it. I totally didn't even catch that. Let me give you a specific, let me give you like a specific thing. We were getting ready to do a group program together. Okay. And I think a lot of this comes to capacity, which is, I think, a really, really important conversation, is that I hold myself to an incredible standard for how I show up when I give my word. And that's, for me, that's integrity. But then capacity changes. If I'm being a dad and I'm feeling gassed at the tail end of my time with my children, but I had made a commitment 2 weeks ago, the day after I get home, it's likely I'm not going to have the capacity to do it. So I've made commitments where I didn't have the capacity. And I got called out for it, but I got called in to being more honest. And can you share with me like your truth? Can you give me your truth? Like, you don't have it. That way there's no resentment. And it allowed me to understand where I said yes too much and where I should say no. So, if we're going to get all the way back to the core of what you're asking for, I think we need to be really mindful and understanding of capacity and relationship, and where somebody's overcommitting, where I need too much from them, and where I get to like source my own, if that makes sense. So, I've dropped the ball many times. And the nurturing way that she brings it to me kind of resets this imprint within me of like, it's okay to fail. Yeah. But what's more important for me to make this commitment? Here's my word. Here's my new agreement. Let's go. Yeah. Right. And if I start wavering, let me share that. It's transparency.
Yeah. So I'm hearing intentional communication, grace.
Yes.
Transparency.
Yes. No gutting.
Yeah. And also, like, what do you want the desired result to be?
Yeah. Typically, it just comes back to connection, or there's a lack of connection. Yeah. There's a misfire happening. Let's just bring it to the air. The old way of, I say the old way because like my parents did it, but the old way of being like, you always do this, especially in a group magnitude. I've been in relationships where I've had partners like shame me, or in front of people. I shouldn't say shame, because shame is like they're saying something that could certainly create some shame in me. They don't create my shame. The shame's either there, or what they said and my lack of integrity creates the shame. But it would be like, he does this or that, and I was just like, you just outed me in public.
I've been there.
You've been there on the receiving end or the giving?
On the receiving end.
Yeah. How did that feel?
Oh, it's terrible.
It's terrible. Yeah. It's not the way.
Yeah.
Right? What did you need? How did you need that to go down?
Privately.
Beautiful. And then in private, not a gutting, but more of just like,
Yeah.
hey, can we talk about this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The public outing, not the way. That's when I hear that or see that, I'm like, whoo.
Yeah. And I think it's especially men are, I mean, I guess both, it could be both ways, but we don't take to, it's not the way for us.
It's not the way. It's not the way. No.
It's, yeah, we much rather have, like, public shaming is just,
yeah.
we are, I think, what is our karmic wound is shame in general.
Of course.
As men.
Super
so
deep.
doing it in public, it's,
no,
thousand
because now we're
stabs.
against like tribe. That's like, there's a lot of safety in tribe. And when that gets mixed up, it's like, we don't need that. But I mean, I love the book Nonviolent Communication. If everybody picked it up and just kind of like understood how to talk again and how to enter into the conversations, it just comes down to compassion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hurt this person. Most people just want to project the hurt that they're feeling. Like, I want to get this off of me and put it on you. So I'm going to say something and then you're going to feel it. Now I don't have to feel it anymore. Or you got to feel as bad as I feel. We don't want that outcome. Yeah. We want the outcome of connection and love and openness and repair, not the rupture.
Right. And that's the easy default way that we communicate. And it may be a little bit harder and more intentional to learn, to unlearn that.
Correct.
But
yes.
If you want to hold men accountable in a way that's not shaming, intentionality works.
Oh, it's so juicy.
Vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely.
What role do women play in helping men reconnect with their hearts, if any?
Massive. I think the most important role out there. I really do. My partner now of a decade has been the biggest guide for me into my heart. And when I say into my heart, I'm not talking about this ushy gushy, he's vulnerable, he's emotional, this or no. Like, my heart is my compass. My heart is my truth. My heart is my North Star. My heart is the pillars of the foundation that makes Wayne Barkus. All of that, my heart is my connection to God. My heart is my connection to truth. My heart is my authenticity. That space, my heart is my intuition, my guidance system. That space, and so many men are incredibly disconnected from that space. So why men are often so challenged in relationship with women is because women are offering them the opportunity for them to see how far they've strayed away. And men are like, I'm so used to being disconnected from it. And now you want me to look at all of these things. No, thanks. Introduce ghosting culture. But what the beauty is in the initiation when a woman offers a man the guidance and the ability for him to really, I'm just talking about touching what's real, sacred. Like, touch what's real. Women are the initiators for men, for them to actually touch what's real. And oftentimes it happens behind closed doors because a man will drop his guard and say, I was raised this way. I went through this. They don't even know how to unpack it because they've never unpacked it. They've never had a safe space to unpack it. And so it's primary and it's important. It's been the juiciest initiation that I've had in my life. There's absolutely not a chance I would have gotten into the emotional depths and the layers that I've been able to navigate had it not been for my partner's brilliance in how she showed up for me and how she believed in me when I didn't believe in me, how she chose me when I didn't choose me, how she used the words that I needed to hear at the exact right time when I was about to quit. Like, all of those brilliant little touch points bring me closer to really, truly understanding the divinity of God through a woman and the floodgates that open when men allow that opportunity to come into their lives, for them to soften and for them to drop the shield so that they can walk through the entire world open. Like not closed, not armor, just open. I can walk through and have a ton of compassion and love and be fierce and devotional, you know, holding the sword, like holding it, walking. Yeah, it's a beautiful initiation.
Yeah. So they play a huge role.
Yeah. Yeah.
God has a funny sense of humor.
He
doesn't make it easy for us.
Yes. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be. This whole experience is incredibly complex.
Yeah.
Like let's, you know.
Yeah, I love it though.
Yeah. Let's go. Like you got a challenge, let's go.
Yeah. I had asked the audience if they had any questions.
Oh yeah.
There was some that came in. Well, really topics.
Yeah.
So before we close, I wanted to touch on that.
Oh, beautiful.
And I hadn't written it down, but I'm
okay.
Before we close. Let's go. So, okay, so these are topics instead of questions. Yeah.
So we got another 2 hours. We'll go into those.
We don't need 2 hours. But if you gotta go, let me know.
It's all good. No. Like topics. Let's go.
Yeah, no, but we could touch on this and then we'll close it out. So this person, she asked for guidance for the feminine for recognizing and holding space for a man on his journey. So it's we kind of touched on it.
Mm-hmm. You know, celebration goes so far.
Yeah.
And, you know, just in the comment that you read when she was just like, we see you, we're cheering for you, we're praying for you. That means so much, you know, because that's so different than the polarizing, you guys have done all this. It's like, I didn't do that shit. That was in your experience. And I hold a lot of compassion for it. But for the guys that are showing up, and most of them are hiding. And I understand why, because they're still building the fortitude of their own word. So like, I hear a lot of times like, where are all the kings? Where are they at? Like, I'm like, they're doing the work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, pray for him.
Yeah.
Pray for him, because those prayers can hit like a candle in the darkness. And I know that I've experienced the power of prayer, and praise is great. Like, we see you, keep going, you know, keep going.
Yeah. And I have something to add too.
Yeah, please.
I made a connection with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
We're friends now, but
sure.
I will say the way that this woman spoke belief into my journey.
Mm-hmm.
We've had conversations around business. She's a super bright. She left a voice note about, she likes to leave like 7-minute voice notes and about how much she believes that I'm going to achieve exactly what I've set out to do. And you don't understand what that does.
On a cellular level.
Bro. So speaking into this topic you want us to discuss, like if you can breathe life into your man,
yes.
Oh, it's like a rocket booster for him.
You better believe it. Yes. Like, help him remember, you know, cheer him on. Like, that goes so far.
Yeah.
You know, speak possibility into him.
Yeah.
Feels good too.
Absolutely. It feels amazing.
It feels amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what holding space for a man on his journey looks like.
Yeah. And you know what? To the women that have been in my comments, like comments, DMs, the messages that I get, I'll go places and they'll be like, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, I honor you for showing up in the way that you do. Never, ever, ever is it lost on me. Like, never, especially when it's coming from a woman and she's just like pausing and acknowledging me, and she sees me, and like me knowing that they're out there holding the frequencies of these words, and it hits, and then to get the reciprocity back of like, need you. Because sometimes, the voice comes, doesn't matter. Does anybody hear this?
Yeah.
Does anybody really hear? Does it matter? Like, I've said a lot of things. You've said a lot of things. Does it really matter? And so I think sometimes coming back to like, I matter.
Yeah, and to hear that you matter from a woman especially, it does something to us.
So good. Yeah. Feel free to drop in the comments that we matter. We'll receive it
we'll
today.
Absorb it.
Yes. Take it. Sacred and I will just get together and read the comments and yeah.
All right. Final topic before we wrap it up. The men with the most heart are often those who are most afraid of loving badly.
I think I understand what she's saying. And I think she's speaking to the sensitivity of a man with a big heart. And that the sensitive ones often shy away from, if she says loving badly, I mean like loving deeply, because there's so much sensitivity that they're protecting themselves. Men that are deeply sensitive, I'm one of them. And I believe that all men are deeply sensitive as I talk to men. And the more I talk to them, they're just like, I'm incredibly sensitive. And I'm like, I know we all are. We're human. We have emotions. We just haven't, checked in with those. Like, it's cool to be sensitive because welcome to being human. Yeah. I think there's an incredible amount of men out there who understand, the depth of pain. They felt it, they're sensitive, they're attuned to it. And so they avoid it. There's this story, I don't want to get hurt again. We're going to. And, as our heart cracks open, just allows us to love more, to experience more, to feel more. So I think it's important to take it real nice and slow with somebody that's incredibly sensitive, because their closure isn't that they want connection, it's because they're living from fear. So if there's like openings and communication and curiosity around what got him there, then there likely is going to build a bridge to exactly what they want, which is more openness. But there needs to be some sort of a bridge. He might be a little clenched. That makes sense.
It does. It does make sense.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Oh, I appreciate having you, Wayne.
Yeah, brother.
Dropping your wisdom on my audience has been a great conversation. Part 2.
Yeah.
Can't wait for part 3.
Thank you for showing up for who you are, brother. Thank you for just like anchoring in and continuing to bring it out and refine and just share more of yourself. Like, thank you for what you're bringing to the world. We need each other. Yeah. We need this voice. We need to support each other. We get to. It's a blessing, bro. So thank you for being in my life.
No problem, man. And same to you. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate you, brother. Till next time.
Till next time.
This is the Sacred Thomas Podcast.